we got three functions, which is the read sample, filter noise, and the print sample. As the question wants us that the input is the user provide the floating points of the number. So the size in this function, this one, the sample is in the float number and the size is in integer. Then the function is writing in this format. So for this function, the read sample is a function to read a signal sample into an array, and the filter noise is mainly used to apply a simple noise filter to the signal samples. So for this, the printf is we want the users to input the numbers of the samples, which it wants the number of samples be what. So the result will based on the numbers of the samples to calculate the results. Then we also declare that the sample is in the float number. It's continued by the read sample, which is in the bracket samples and size, which this is for the input, and this both of this is for the output, which we want to print that the original signal sample is what and the filter signal sample is what. Then we also define that the filter noise samples and size. So for this, we follow the instructions of the files given, which we want to write the function, which is the void read sample and the float. This one is the pointer if as it have a star here, and it's the also same as the size is in integer. And for this, we print out enter the signal sample and we let the users to know it is in range 0 to -100 and its unit is dBn. So for this function, we use the for loop, which we initialize the I, and the I is smaller than the size and is increment of the I. Later, we print out that the sample, which depends on what's value of samples, and it is in a loop. The loop is until the size, which means that if we set the size is 6, then the loop will until 5 only. So for this, we also follow the instructions that we give the sense function like this, which is the void filter noise in the bracket float pointer samples and the size is integer. Then this function is takes a pointer to an array of sample and the size of array input and apply a simple noise filter to the sample. Then we just fix that the treasure values is in the float number, which is -18.5. So if we want to check that the value of each sample, if the value is more than the treasure, then we modify the signal samples using the pointer. Then the treasure is set to -18.5, at which we set here. And we also use the for loop, which is the same principle. If, which means that if smaller than the treasure, it brings out the original value. But if the sample is bigger than the treasure, which is bigger than -18.5, it will brings out the same values of the treasure, which it will brings out -18.5. Then for this, so for the last, we print the sample, which same as the float pointer samples integer size, and we use the for loop. Then we print out what is the value, which we use the %.2f, which has the 2 decimal number, which is the floating point, and the values is the sample. It's using the pointer arithmetic to print the value. So let us to see for the output. Firstly, enter the number of the signal sample is 6. So our sample has 1, 2, 3, 4 until 6, and its range in 0 to -100. So the user Well, firstly inputs negative 15.5 and we write down all the input, and this one is the output which give the original and the filter one. So it fulfills that the loops that we caught before, which if it is smaller than the negative 18.5, the threshold value, it will print the same number, which is, you see that the negative 15.5 dBn and the filter number is also negative 15.5. It's also same that is negative 6, it's also that negative 6. It also is negative 6. But for this tree, it is greater than the negative 18.5, which is the threshold value, which is for this negative 18.5. So it will directly set up its SAMs with the values of the threshold. So you can see that the tree of this will write down negative 18.5. So this is all the code explanation for this lab exercise.